This is feedback for your legal correspondence assignment. Let's begin with the information letter. The heading is good. I did say you could make up one, um, but it should still follow the template in the textbook, ideally. You have the date filled out. Make sure that you use the proper title. So, when you're proofreading your work, or one of the steps, well, the writing process is just that, a process. And one of the steps in that process is proofreading. And one aspect of proofreading that makes a okay document an excellent document is what we call tightening up your language, taking a hatchet to your work, meaning not using phrases or words that don't add to the overall understanding of your letter. Your words or your expressions need to be direct, to the point, and as concise as possible. So phrases such as you know, that's superfluous. We don't, it's not needed in the sentence. Okay? Because if they know it, then they know it. We talk like that. And you may talk like that as if you were writing like a fiction novel, but in a professional letter, you want your letters, especially from the legal industry, you want your writing as concise and direct as possible. So that whole phrase, as you know, a will is a good thing to have and are recommended. That might have been something that you can tell them in person, but in the letter where they've specifically asked you to explain the statute or give them information on the statute, just do that. Okay. The testator, I highlighted that because you did tell them what the testator is. But you might want to also include a definition. Remember, the client is a non-legal person, so they've come to you to get an explanation of, okay, what do I need to do to get a will? And terms like testator or holographic will, which you did a good job of defining down here, is what you need to do. So that's why I was initially saying don't just cut and paste the statute because they don't understand it, or you should assume that they don't understand it. They very well may, but the purpose of them coming to you is to have everything explained to them. So you want to act accordingly. But other than that, this is good. Just make sure that you proofread. You may want to read things out loud. That is something that has helped me over the years, and I highly recommended it. And also make sure that you are paying attention to who needs to sign the letters. That is something that's come up in each of them that I've graded. Some of these letters are considered practicing law, giving legal advice. And as you should already know from your many previous classes, a paralegal cannot practice law. They cannot give legal advice. And if the letter is coming from the law office, some of these must be signed by the attorney. They can be drafted by you, and 9 times out of 10, they will be drafted by you as the paralegal, but you will not be signing them. You will not be the signer. So make sure you pay close attention to that. Another thing is you never, ever, ever want to misspell a client's name. It just looks like you don't care and you couldn't take the time to figure out how to spell their name correctly. And some people can get really offended by that. So make sure that you spell the client's name correctly. Um, Again, this is a demand letter. So a demand letter, as we've discussed in the lectures, is a letter whose purpose is to get another party to do something. So a client has come to your law office because their efforts to get a situation that could be potentially litigious meaning could go to court, headed off. So it's to mainly to avoid court, although it doesn't always work. But a letter coming from a paralegal does not have a weight of one coming from an attorney. Okay, so it's written by an attorney. So you would not do this. And this was discussed in the lectures. Okay, so please, please, please listen to those lectures. It's as if you were going to class every week. So if this was a face-to-face class and you had to meet at Tuesday at 6 o'clock for an hour, hour and a half, you would go to class Tuesday at 6 o'clock for an hour, hour and a half. But the beauty of it here is you get to pick the best class time for you. So if it's Sunday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's the best time for you to go to class, you can do that. But don't let a week go without you sitting and listening to the lectures, because we discuss in them, or during that time, we discuss really important information that can help you do from a satisfactory to an excellent work product. Oh, I am here to inform you. That's just too much of a informal language. I am here to inform you. No, that's kind of what I was saying before about language that is superfluous. Just say, I am informing you. And I am here to inform you. I'm informing you. Or just tell them, just inform them. You must stop parking your welding trucks. That's it. You don't have to have all this extra language. You're kind of leading up, that build up to, no, don't build up. Just tell me. Just tell me tell him what you need him to do. And there's no encloser. It's enclosed. And that's only if you have something enclosed. So I don't recall that being in the instructions. It's not necessarily wrong, but you would only put that line in there, like for instance, if you were enclosing a copy of the covenant, which wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea. Lastly, the opinion letter, just as the name indicates, it's an opinion letter, a legal opinion, so should not be signed by the paralegal. You want to also put the name of the homeowners association right below Mr. Smart's name. Oh, I apologize. How did I miss that? My apologies. I'm going to delete this or resolve it, or I don't know how I missed that at the top. But actually, I know how I missed it. Might want to do it like this. Put the person's name at the top and then the company. Okay. You have to get your citations. This citation is incorrect. Hopefully you can tell what's incorrect about it just by looking at it. If you cannot, then again, you have to listen to our lectures. But I do have to point out that this was a really good analogy of the case and Mr. Carpenter situation. You used, this is legal analysis. I don't know how else to put it. This is exactly what needs to happen in your legal writing, where you take the facts of one case and you compare and contrast it to the facts of another case. So this was really good. So it wouldn't make too much changes in here. The other change, though, that you will need to make is you have to follow the format. This is not the format in the textbook of an opinion letter. Okay, so make sure that you go back and pay attention to that. And then also proofread. Okay, that is an error. I'm sure you can look at it right now and tell, but it's one that you would not have made if you'd gone back and read it, or had time to go back and read it. I don't want to make assumptions because I don't like to make assumptions, but for errors like that, sometimes it's because we're doing things at the last minute and we don't have time to go back and really give it the critical eye that the work needs. And so that's something to keep in mind when you revise it and resubmit it as your final. So overall, a solid effort, um, one that with just a few revisions and corrections based on my comments, I'm sure you can improve upon and get a better grade for your final. Have a great day, and if you have any questions, please contact me.